I need to tell you something that may feel uncomfortable at first. Whenever you say you're fine while feeling broke and alone, you're quietly destroying the very bridge that could lead you out of that darkness. It sounds harsh, I know, but the truth rarely arrives with soft footsteps. It usually knocks like a warning at midnight, forcing you to open your eyes before you fall any further. And if you're listening to me right now, it's because some part of you suspects that the way you speak to yourself is costing you more than money. It's costing you your destiny. There's a strange urgency in this moment, a sense that the words you choose today could bend the path of your life toward abundance or toward more of the same emptiness. In Jewish wisdom, this is not superstition, it's law. Words are not decorations, they are tools, keys, seeds. They carve the invisible structure of your future long before any opportunity appears. That's why when someone feels broke, lost, or abandoned, the most dangerous thing they can do is speak as if they've given up. Because the universe listens with terrifying precision. And before we continue, I want you to do something simple but deeply symbolic. Go to the comments and write the sentence you silently repeat to yourself when things collapse. Whether it is, I can't take this anymore, or nothing ever works for me, or I'm trying my best but I'm drowning. Write it not to expose your weakness, but to release it. When you bring a hidden phrase into the light, it loses the power to bury you. Consider this your first small act of courage. Now, let me explain why this matters so much. For generations, my family carried a very old teaching, whispered more than spoken. Your voice is the first architect of your reality. My great-grandfather used to say that poverty begins in the mouth long before it ever reaches the wallet. He believed that when a person declares lack repeatedly and with emotion, they enlarge that emptiness until it becomes a home they start living in. And I've seen this unfold dozens of times. People whose lives hardened around the words they spoke without noticing. But perhaps the most unsettling part is that the damage doesn't always appear slowly. Sometimes it happens in only 3 days. 3 small days between saying, I'm fine, I'll survive, and watching opportunities vanish like smoke. Words can turn the soil of your life barren with frightening speed. Still, there is something even more hidden than this, something most people never realize until it's too late. And if you've ever wondered why some individuals seem to stand still for years, even though they claim they want to rise, the answer begins with a mistake so common, so innocent-looking, that almost everyone commits it without a second thought. What I'm about to share may feel ancient, yet it is more alive today than ever. In Jewish thought, every word is a seed, not a metaphorical seed, an actual spiritual imprint that grows in the unseen long before it appears in the visible world. When you speak, you are planting. When you repeat something, you are watering. And when you feel something while saying it, you are giving that seed the sunlight it needs to flourish. This is the core belief that shapes everything that will unfold from here. My great-grandfather, a quiet man named Moshe, understood this with bone-deep certainty. He wasn't a scholar in the traditional sense. His wisdom came from surviving storms that would have broken other men. He discovered the power of words the hard way, after losing everything he owned in the span of 3 days. 3 days so sharp and sudden that they felt like the world had collapsed inward. And when his relatives asked what had happened, he simply said, I declared myself finished before life had decided anything. That sentence stayed in my family like a warning carved into stone. But there is something else he taught, something that creates a clear contrast between those who rise and those who sink. Some people speak in a way that shuts the gates of abundance. They say, I'm fine, it's whatever, I'll manage, as if settling was a virtue. Others, even in difficulty, say, thank God, I am growing, or something good will come of this, and their lives somehow keep expanding. It almost looks unfair, as if they live under a different sky. But the secret isn't the sky, it's the language. Most people don't see the divide because it looks small on the surface. But if you listen closely, it's the difference between declaring stagnation and declaring movement. between claiming emptiness and claiming possibility, between sealing the heart and opening it. And this is where most of us fail without even realizing it, by using words that sound harmless but carry the energy of defeat. There are 3 mistakes hidden inside the language of everyday suffering, 3 silent traps that drain wealth, peace, and strength without warning. And most people have no idea they are walking straight into them, repeating the same sentences that once destroyed my great-grandfather's fortune. The second mistake is the one that concerns me the most because it is subtle, seductive, and far more dangerous than the others. But before we get to that, you must understand the first error clearly because it is the foundation of all the others. And once you see it, truly see it, you will never hear your own voice the same way again. The first mistake is so ordinary, so woven into daily conversation that people repeat it without noticing the harm it carries. It is the quiet declaration that slips out when someone is tired, overwhelmed, or secretly breaking inside. The mistake is saying, "I'm fine." Those 2 words seem harmless, almost polite, yet they hold the power to freeze your life at the exact level of pain you're trying to escape. Because when you insist that everything is fine, you declare to the universe that you need nothing, desire nothing, expect nothing. And the universe, in its precision, responds by giving you exactly that, nothing. When you say you're fine while drowning, you're sending out a message of fullness. Spiritually, fullness is a dangerous illusion. It tells the divine that your vessel cannot receive more, cannot grow, cannot open further. And so the flow that might have entered your life pauses. Opportunities that were already on their way shift direction. Unexpected blessings turn into silence. All because you spoke as if you were complete, when, deep down, you were anything but. I remember a man from my old neighborhood, a shopkeeper named Elias. He was proud, disciplined, and stubborn in the kind of way that made people admire him from afar. When his business began to decline, he refused to admit he needed help. Every time someone asked how things were going, he offered the same answer: "I'm fine, it's nothing." He said it to friends, to family, even to himself. And in only 3 days, just 3, his final suppliers backed out, his last reliable clients disappeared, and the shop that had been open for 30 years closed its doors for good. Later, he confessed that he felt the collapse coming but didn't know how to ask the world for more. So he kept saying he was fine, and life believed him. This is the hidden spiritual consequence. Declaring false stability tells creation not to move on your behalf. Not out of cruelty, but out of alignment. Words shape your field of possibility. By pretending that everything is steady, you unconsciously freeze your fate in place. There is no room for the divine to intervene when you keep insisting that nothing must change. And yet, the danger doesn't stop there. Saying, "I'm fine," doesn't just block the external flow. It numbs your inner awareness. It teaches you to normalize struggle. It convinces your heart to tolerate situations that were meant to be temporary. It traps you in survival mode long after the moment has passed. You begin to adjust to the pain instead of seeking healing. You adapt to scarcity instead of calling in abundance. But this first mistake is only the beginning. There is a deeper trap, more subtle and far more treacherous, that waits just after this one. A mistake people make not when they feel weak, but precisely when they start to rise. There is an ancient line in the Talmud that whispers more than it explains. Be careful when you speak of fullness, for the full vessel receives no blessing. For centuries, this teaching has been repeated in quiet study halls and around wooden tables late at night, not as superstition, but as a law of spiritual physics. It reveals something unsettling. The universe does not pour abundance into a heart that claims it already has enough. And every time you speak as if your life is settled, even when it is not, you unknowingly close the door that was meant to open for you. To understand this, imagine your life as a cup. When you say, "I'm fine," "It's okay," or "I don't need anything," You fill that cup to the brim with false stability. And a cup that is full, truly or falsely, cannot receive more. Jewish wisdom teaches that blessings require space, movement, and humility. They need room to land. So when someone insists they are full while standing in the middle of emotional hunger or financial struggle, they create a contradiction between what they live and what they speak. And in the realm of spirit, contradiction always leads to stagnation. But this teaching is not meant to shame you. It is meant to free you. Because once you see this dynamic clearly, you can stop fighting invisible battles and start working with the current instead of against it. The problem isn't your desire. The problem isn't your effort. The problem is the language that tells heaven and earth that you don't require change. I've seen this pattern hundreds of times. A person stands in the middle of a collapsing season and says the words they believe are polite or strong. I'm fine. What they really mean is, I don't want to burden anyone, or I'm afraid to look weak, or if I admit I'm struggling, I'll have to face what that means. But the universe doesn't hear the fear beneath the sentence. It only hears the declaration of fullness. At this point, I want you to pause for a moment, not to judge yourself, but to observe yourself. Where in your life have you been saying you're okay when you are not? Where have you settled when your soul is still calling for more? Where have you convinced yourself to endure instead of evolve? There is no need to answer out loud. Just hold the question in your mind and let it open a small window inside you. This reflection is important because understanding the spiritual mechanics is only the beginning. To break the pattern, you must recognize the language you use to hide your true needs. And once you see those words, you can replace them with ones that invite movement, growth, and blessing. But this still doesn't reveal the true danger. Because while the first mistake blocks abundance through false stability, the second mistake operates in a completely different way. It doesn't strike when you're down, it strikes when you start to rise. The second mistake hides itself behind progress. It doesn't appear when you're broken or tired or afraid. It slips in quietly the moment you start to rise. It waits until you've gained a little strength, a little clarity, a little momentum, and then it whispers a single poisonous thought. You've already won. And the moment you believe that, even for an instant, your guard drops, your effort softens, your vigilance dissolves. This is the second mistake, thinking the battle is over before the victory is real. It's subtle because it feels good. After climbing out of a dark place, you want rest, relief, ease. You want to exhale after holding your breath for so long. And rest is necessary, but the illusion of victory is not. In Jewish wisdom, complacency is described as the shadow that follows every blessing. It looks harmless, but if you don't watch it carefully, it becomes the force that steals everything you've gained. I once heard an old saying that captures this perfectly. A sleeping crocodile becomes a fine handbag. It's humorous, maybe even ridiculous, yet it carries the weight of a warning. The moment the creature relaxes and lets its instincts dull, it becomes prey. The same is true for us. When we stop paying attention, when we stop pushing, when we stop speaking life into our future, we become vulnerable to the same patterns that once held us down. Psychologically, this happens because the brain confuses relief with completion. After surviving a difficult season, your mind wants to conserve energy. It convinces you to slow down, to take just a small break, to enjoy the comfort you didn't have before. But spiritually, this signals something more dangerous: stagnation. The moment you decide the journey is finished, your energy collapses inward. Movement stops, potential fades. You slip from expansion back into survival without even noticing it. This is why so many people experience cycles of progress followed by sudden setbacks. They rise a little, stop too soon, and fall back into the same emotional and financial patterns. Not because they are weak, not because they are cursed, but because they stopped speaking the language of growth the moment life finally started responding. Here is the truth most people never realize. Life rewards motion, not arrival. The divine supports those who step forward, not those who freeze in relief. Prosperity flows toward the ones who remain awake, aware, and in movement. When you tell yourself you're done growing, you tell the universe you no longer need guidance, blessing, or opportunity, and the universe listens. This second mistake is far more dangerous than the first because it doesn't feel like a mistake. It feels like a breath of peace. Yet behind that peace lies a quiet collapse waiting to begin. But even this is not the deepest trap. There is still a third mistake, the most hidden of all. A mistake built entirely on a lie we tell ourselves so often that we begin to believe it. The third mistake is the most dangerous of them all, not because it is loud or dramatic, but because it is built on a lie so familiar that we repeat it without hesitation. It is the quiet deception we tell ourselves when we want to avoid discomfort, when we want to escape responsibility, or when we are simply too tired to confront the truth. The third mistake is saying everything is fine, not as a shield, but as a resignation, a way of pretending that life no longer has anything more to offer you. This lie is seductive because it brings temporary relief. It gives you a false sense of peace, like placing a warm blanket over a wound instead of healing it. And yet, beneath that softness, something dangerous begins to grow. When you claim that everything is fine, you deny your own hunger for more. You silence the part of you that knows you were made for greater things. And in doing so, you shut down the possibility of movement, progress, and transformation. In reality, nothing is ever fully fine, not in the sense of completion. There is always room to rise, to expand, to heal, to create. Jewish wisdom teaches that the soul is never finished. It is always stretching toward its next form. So when you tell yourself that everything is fine, you are not calming your spirit. You are caging it. You are shrinking the very space where blessings were meant to take shape. To show how deeply this lie affects our lives, let me share a finding from a study I once came across. A group of researchers in Israel observed people who frequently used phrases of resignation, sentences like, "It's fine," "It doesn't matter," or "I'm used to it." They discovered something startling. Over the course of 1 year, participants who spoke this way experienced a drop of 12% in their income. 12% may not sound catastrophic, but it is enough to shift an entire household from stability to struggle. Words, once again, prove to be architects, shaping emotional state, influencing decisions, and subtly redirecting the path of each person's life. But here is the hopeful truth hidden beneath all of this. Lies can be undone. Patterns can be replaced. Words can be rewritten. And the moment you stop declaring false stability, you create room for real growth. You make space for something new to enter. You give yourself permission to change. And this is where the real turning point begins. Because if the wrong words can lock you in a life that feels too small, the right words can open doors you didn't even know existed. The right words can shift the energy around you, awaken your spirit, and call opportunities out of hiding. The next step, your step, is learning the simple phrase, the short formula that has opened the path of prosperity for countless people before you. Now comes the moment everything begins to turn. After breaking the 3 traps that keep people stuck, false stability, premature victory, and the lie of everything is fine, you need something to replace them. A new structure, a new direction, a new seed to plant into the soil of your life. Jewish wisdom teaches that transformation requires not just the removal of harmful words, but the introduction of words that carry intention, energy, and alignment. And for this, there is a simple 3-part formula, 3 short movements of the soul that reopen the gates of abundance. Before I reveal it, I want you to pay attention to your breathing. Notice how your heart feels right now. Notice the subtle shift inside you, the quiet readiness that forms when you realize something is about to change. That readiness matters. In spiritual work, expectation itself is a vessel. It creates space. It signals that you are willing to receive. And once that space is open, the words can finally take root. The formula is this: thank God I am working and growing. These are the three pillars: gratitude, action, and expansion. They form a bridge between where you stand and where you are meant to go. Each part holds a spiritual function. Each part adjusts your inner world in a different direction. The first movement is gratitude. Thank God. Gratitude is the spark that awakens spiritual momentum. It shifts your attention from what is missing to what is possible. It tells the universe that you are awake, aware, paying attention. Gratitude is not a denial of difficulty. It is a recognition that even in struggle, you are still connected to something greater than the moment you are living. The second movement is action. I am working. This phrase is a declaration that you are not frozen, not stagnant, not resigned. It communicates motion, effort, participation. Jewish thought teaches that divine assistance only attaches itself to those who move their feet. When you say, I am working, you activate the principle of partnership. You show that you are willing to meet life halfway. The third movement is growth and growing. Growth is the ultimate spiritual signal. It tells heaven and earth that you have space, desire, and readiness for more. It reopens the vessel that false stability closed. It transforms you from a passive observer of your life into an active builder of your future. And growth, once declared, becomes a magnet for opportunity. But knowing the formula is not enough. You must anchor it into your daily rhythm so that it replaces the old patterns automatically. For that, I want you to set an alarm on your phone for 9 o'clock every morning with this exact phrase written into it. Thank God I am working and growing. When the alarm rings, speak the words out loud. Feel them. Let them shape the tone of your day. And once you begin, something remarkable happens. Your energy shifts, your choices sharpen, your path begins to rearrange itself. But this transformation becomes even more powerful when you see how these words have already changed the lives of others. I want to tell you about a woman named Luzia, someone who carried the weight of scarcity on her back for more years than she could count. When I first met her, she lived in a cycle that felt unbreakable. Bills stacked like fragile towers on her kitchen table, loneliness tightening around her chest, and a quiet belief that life had already decided her fate. She wasn't lazy. She wasn't unlucky. She was simply trapped in the language of limitation, repeating the same resigned phrases that kept her anchored to a small, shrinking life. Every time something went wrong, she whispered, "It's fine." Whenever help was offered, she said, "I'm okay." And in the moments when hope flickered inside her, she extinguished it with the simplest lie: life is what it is. Those words didn't just describe her situation, they shaped it. They made her world smaller. They made her possibilities dimmer. They closed every window through which light might have entered. But something changed the day she decided, almost accidentally, to replace those phrases with the formula I taught her. Thank God I am working and growing. At first, she repeated it without much feeling. The words felt foreign, almost awkward on her tongue. But she kept going. Every morning at 9 o'clock, she paused, breathed, and spoke them out loud. And slowly, the words began to take root. The transformation didn't arrive in a single miracle. It came through a series of small, almost invisible shifts. One week, she accepted a small freelance job she would have rejected before. Another week, she reached out to a friend she hadn't spoken to in years. And then, one quiet afternoon, she realized she no longer felt alone. She wasn't wealthy yet, but her world had expanded enough for hope to enter. She had gone from surviving to moving, from waiting to acting. Then came the moment that changed everything. A neighbor, hearing about her skills, connected her to a client who needed exactly what she could offer. It was a simple opportunity, modest, ordinary, but it opened a door. And opportunities, once they find a crack, tend to multiply. Within a few months, Lucia's income had doubled. Her home felt different. Her voice sounded different. The heaviness around her had lifted. She didn't say, "I'm fine" anymore. She said, "I'm growing." Her story is not an exception. It is a reflection of a universal pattern. Whether you come from a Jewish background, a different tradition, or no tradition at all, the spiritual mechanics are the same. Words shape direction. Direction shapes decisions. Decisions shape destiny. The energy that responds to your language does not check your ancestry. It responds to your intention, your sincerity, your readiness to change. And it is here, in these small transformations, that the deeper truth emerges. Because the principle behind all of this is much older than Lucia, older than me, older than any single story ever told. At the heart of Jewish wisdom lies a simple, breathtaking idea. Words create worlds. The entire universe, according to our tradition, began with speech. Divine breath shaping chaos into structure, darkness into light, emptiness into possibility. God said, and there was. This pattern did not end with creation. It continues through every person who speaks with intention. When you choose your words, you are not just expressing your feelings, you are sculpting the architecture of your future. Everything we've explored so far leads to this truth. The first mistake, saying you're fine when you're breaking, creates a false fullness that blocks blessings. The second mistake, believing you've already won, invites stagnation. The third mistake, declaring everything is fine forever, shrinks your life to the size of your comfort zone. Each of these errors is rooted in speech, and each can be undone with speech. That is the quiet power behind this entire journey. You are never trapped as long as you can speak a different reality into motion. You now understand the formula: gratitude, action, growth. You've seen how others, like Lucia, have shifted their destiny with simple but consistent words. But knowledge alone won't change your life. Practice will. Jewish philosophy teaches that change comes through repetition, through daily alignment, through the small rituals that shape the soul over time. That is why I want you to do something simple yet transformative. Try this for 7 days. 7 days of speaking the new formula every morning. 7 days of rejecting the language of resignation. 7 days of inviting movement into your life. Why 7? Because 7 represents completion in our tradition. A full cycle, a full breath, a full rhythm. In 7 days, you won't transform everything, but you will feel the shift. You will notice the edges of your old words softening. You will feel the space inside you widening. And once you feel that, even faintly, the process becomes natural. And here is the part most people overlook. Abundance is not an accident. It is not luck. It is not a cosmic reward reserved for a chosen few. It is the natural result of alignment between your words and your intentions, your actions and your beliefs, your desires and your efforts. Prosperity responds to consistency, clarity, and openness. When your speech reflects growth, your life begins to mirror it. So let me summarize what you now hold in your hands. The awareness that words shape fate. The understanding that speech opens or closes doors. The formula that realigns your spirit. And the choice to repeat it for 7 days. A choice that belongs entirely to you. Because in the end, everything returns to the same question. Will you create a world that keeps you small, or a world that allows you to rise? And as we move toward the closing of this journey, there is one final truth, one last blessing that ties everything together. Something carried through generations as both a promise and a prayer. If you have walked with me through every step of this journey, then you already feel the thread that ties it all together. Your words shape your life. Not metaphorically, not symbolically, but literally, spiritually, psychologically, energetically. Every sentence you choose becomes a small architect of your future. And now that you see this, truly see it, You can no longer return to the old habit of saying, "I'm fine," when you were not. Those words were never neutral. They were chains disguised as politeness. So let this be the final echo of everything we've built. Do not say, "I'm fine." Do not say, "It's whatever." Do not bury your hunger beneath the lie of stability. Instead, speak the phrase that opens your life instead of closing it. Thank God I am growing. Those 5 words hold the essence of everything we learned: gratitude, movement, expansion. They are a compass pointing you out of darkness, a rope pulling you out of stagnation, a quiet declaration that you are not done becoming who you were meant to be. And with that declaration comes something older than any of us. A blessing spoken for centuries, passed down through generations like a protective light. May the Lord bless you and guard you. May the Lord shine his face upon you and give you peace. These words are not just a farewell. They are a shelter, a shield, a reminder that you are not walking alone. Even in your hardest days, even in your most silent nights, there is guidance hovering near you, waiting for your voice to make space for it. Before we close, there is one final gesture I ask of you, not for me, but for the world you are connected to. Think of 3 people who need this message. 3 souls who are carrying more than they admit, who speak small words over their lives without realizing the weight of them. Share this with them as an act of purpose, as an act of compassion, as an act of spiritual generosity. Because when you extend wisdom, you strengthen it within yourself. And now, take one last breath with intention. Feel the shift inside you, the new awareness, the new clarity, the new language ready to take root. Your journey does not end here, it begins here. You have stepped out of resignation and into responsibility. You have replaced numbness with intention. You have chosen movement over stagnation, growth over comfort, truth over the easy lie. Carry these words forward. Let them rise with you in the morning and guide you when the night feels heavy. Let them shape the next version of your life. Because you are not finished, not today, not ever. You are growing, and thank God for that.